Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com. Today I'm here with a card for the Winter Coffee Lovers blog hop. I'm going to be using some stamps from Neat and Tangled and some papers from Fawn and dies from Scrappiness. To get started, I have this little doggy cut from stamped from a Neat and Tangled stamp set, and I've stamped a lot of the accessories on the same page. I'm just going to be using the dog and the coffee cup today. There are a lot of other images between the two stamp sets. I think one is called Kitty's Favorite Things and the other is Puppy's Favorite Things. They coordinate well together because they're the same size. The little images that come with the cat set can be used with the dog set. Some of them are a little bit more specific to cat or dogs, but I like that these images or the stamp sets kind of build on each other. Also, I'll later on use the dog die and kind of talk about how it works with the cat die. To do my coloring, I'm trying to keep it somewhat quick. I have my colors off to the side there, the E23, E25, and then I went to an E57 because I didn't have a darker color that was in the same, E20 family. I am starting with my lightest color, not coloring all the way down because I want my lightest area to stay light, and if you cover your area completely the first time, when you go to blend it out the second time, you're going to add another layer of the light color and it's going to make it look darker. You want to use your light color in your lightest areas the least number of times as possible in order to keep it light. So that's my general recommendation and something that I've been trying. I'm liking the results. I like the fact that it adds more contrast. And I'm working generally with the idea of drop shadows. So here where his arms are kind of covering his body, I want there to be a shadow so that it looks like his hands are essentially blocking the light from the bottom of his body there. Or his bottom is blocking the light to his tail. And so that's why there's a shadow where the body meets the tail, for instance. And then on the head, I just did some shadows on the top and bottom for a little bit of dimension to make his face look kind of round. And to keep some things simpler, I decided, for example, that the spot around his eye, I would just color with a darker color. And the reason that I decided to do that was so that I could save some time with coloring. So if I decide to color it in a much darker color, then I don't have to color around it the first time. I'm using E13, 15, and 19 for his belly and his ears. Originally, I don't know what I was thinking. I was going to wind up putting the shadow on the bottom of his ears, which I don't think would have looked good. I like it at the top. So I accidentally colored starting from the bottom, and that is why my lightest color got darker than I intended it to. So I went in with the 13, added a little 15, and then on to 19. And I think I'm actually using the same colors here to shade in his eye patch, and they aren't necessarily darker. I should actually probably clarify that. I don't know that the E19 is particularly darker than the E23, but just layering a second brown color over it allows for it to look a little bit different and bring in that second color without having to color around it the first time. Now, obviously, if you were doing something a little bit different, like you were trying to make that white and you colored gray over it, of course, it's not going to work. But if you go with something in the same tones and families, then you can not have to avoid coloring it the first time. And I like to take the sort of easy, lazy way out. I'm using BG 10 and 13 to color the coffee cup. Again, just giving it a bit of dimension by coloring the edges darker than the center of the cup. So with the dies, I don't normally have very many dies because I have a scan and cut. However, I did purchase this die set because there's that little paw die that comes in the die set, and that paw die cuts out the dog's paws. It also cuts out the cat's paws. So if you're like me, you don't like to buy a lot of dies for whatever reason, but you want to be able to cut out those paws to make this really cute sort of holding the supplies images, then you could get just the dog dies and you'll have it for both the dog and the cat, and then you can either fussy cut out the cat or use your scan and cut to cut out the cat. So now that my dog is complete and ready to go, everything from Neat and Tangled there, I am ready to start assembling the card. So this is the Winter Coffee Lovers blog hop, and therefore we're going to go with a winter theme. I am choosing the Lawn Fawn. I don't know where rainbow came from. I think it's because there's a Lawn Fawn rainbow pad too. Anyway, the Lawn Fawn Perfectly Plaid Christmas set. And I've also picked out some dies from Cat Scrappiness. They're all rectangle dies, but they have a cross-stitching detail. I really like that detail. I like the stitch, the wonky stitch, all those fun little border things. And I'm trying to pick out some scraps instead of always cutting out full sheets of paper. So I want this teal color to show through that matches the teal color in my dog's cup. I really love teal, so I find a lot of excuses to use it. And I'm creating a shaker card here, so I die cut a smaller rectangle out of this green and white plaid piece, and I also cut the largest as a red plaid. I added some acetate or some clear transparency over the window. Then I took some foam tape, I doubled it up, and I just made a rectangle around that frame piece, and I'm going to be able to put my sequins inside. I am using the sparkling Manhattan sequins just to kind of be reminiscent of coffee, incorporate that brown color that's on the dog and in the coffee again into my card. And I try to use quite a bit. I really love my sequins, and there's a temptation to hoard them when they're really pretty, but I also really love the look of a full shaker card. So I've been trying to be more generous with the sequins I include, because I don't know about you, but I don't think I could ever run out of sequins at this rate. And if I did, that'd be awesome, because then I could buy more cute sequins and we all win. So I'll peel off the backer sheets and I'm going to place that on. I find it much easier to put whatever's going to be inside your shaker onto the card base rather than trying to put it in the shaker. I don't know, for the longest time I was putting it inside the shaker and that just doesn't work. So I put it down, cover the frame around it, and at this point I was like, maybe I'm not going to add a sentiment. Maybe I'm just kind of going to let that be. I'm going to put it on a card base and be good to go. But eventually I decided that I would really rather have a sentiment just to make this a specific card, like, basically in this case, a Christmas card. So what I did is I stamped it from the same red paper, and then I actually die cut it so that little cross-stitching detail would be on the edges of my sentiment as well. So I didn't cut the full rectangle. And I put it on a piece of thick craft cardstock to complete my card. That's it for my card today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll leave you links to the products in the video description below, as well as to the blog hop so that you can participate. I believe it's going on from December 8th to December 15th, and there are a ton of prizes to be won. Have an awesome day. Bye.